Ladies and
I'm so sorry. I'm not getting your audio at all. Are you getting me?
I'm getting you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Now I've got you perfectly. This is a classic start to every Zoom call and video call out there at the moment. You're on mute. I'm on mute, but I've got you loud and clear now.
Fantastic. And I think without further ado, let's introduce you to our live audience. I think we are now doing this live taping of the CMO Asia Podcast. And of course, we are doing this absolutely live. That was very good. I think the point earlier.
Well, I like to kick it off like everyone's used to starting every single part of every single meeting of their day at the moment. It's everyone on mute trying to work out what's going on. So we couldn't start live without technical issues.
100%. That's why we need people like you, right? And Shootsta, because you make the heavy lifting seems to be much easier and it's reduced, I think, 100%. With you guys, at the helm, and of course, you guys are the professional video production company, and of course, you have not just any video production company. So I think this is probably a good time for me to do a full introduction for
Absolutely.
you, Mike Pritchett, the CEO of Shootsta, and of course, the founder as well of the world's fastest growing video production company. And you recently launched a world first AI video creation app for sales executives. So I think this is the one that really caught my attention because I think every day, we are being told submit a video or maybe do a live video or do an intro by video. And of course, you're a lifesaver for so many executives out there. So let's get cracking and get you to start talking about this Elevate, which is an app that can be used as a standalone service outside of Shootsta's professional service offerings.
Yeah, thank you for the intro. It is really, really exciting. We've been creating personalized sales videos for 5 years now and finding them to be very, very effective. But as you say, so many people are trying to do video and trying to create video content, but it's not easy. So every time you're told, hey, make a quick intro video, either you look like, from Phantom of the Opera and the bad lighting, or you've got horrible audio, or, then you actually shoot a nice piece of content and have to create all the cutaways and the overlays, and it takes a lot of time. So the deal has really got to be worth a decent amount of money to create a cold outreach video. Now with Elevate, that's all taken away. You can create hundreds, if not thousands of videos, personalized videos to your content, to your contacts, without having to go through all of the overlays and the cutaways and the trouble of creating a video every single time.
This is absolutely fantastic. It's a real godsend. And, I'm so eager to maybe share my screen and show our audience as well, while we are live taping this for a podcast replay later on, maybe have a look at some of your introduction videos. I think Elevate is part of your one of your showcase pages in your website. And of course, we want to show our audience as well. This is probably a very good way to walk through our audience as well, what it actually is capable of doing, right? So not sure whether it's popping up on your screen as well.
Yeah, I can see that there.
Live sales videos tool. And of course, it is an app, right? It's offered separately outside of your normal offerings as well, which is something that we will deep dive into later on. And understand that this particular tool, right, allows anyone to just pick a script and they're able to just create, send it off, and the video is done, right? Maybe tell us the process. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's an iOS or an Android app on your phone. You can create the templates to begin with. So one of the key things here is that, good call on muting that one. So one of the key things here is that we work with organizations. This is really an enterprise sales tool. So we work with organizations to create the top level video, the ultimate sales tool that you would have for maybe a cold outreach, a follow-up, a follow-up after a meeting, a closing a deal, welcoming a client on board, account management, quarterly reviews, whatever those videos are that you want to create. You create the video once, and then that gets put in almost like a hopper into the top of the engine. And then every single salesperson on their phone has, which you can see here, this sales app, Elevate. It's just super simple app. They open it up and all they have to do is choose their script, write the person's name at the start and write the personalized intro and outro, which is a 5-second job. Turn the phone to their side, use a nice little ring light and just read the script. They've got a teleprompter on the phone. They just read the script, press submit. Within 3 minutes, that phone is actually edited in the cloud using our AI engine, which we have a patent pending on at the moment. And that is actually then sent back to them in their email inbox with an animated GIF of them waving and saying the person's name. They can send that off to the client. Once the client, or the prospect, I should say, clicks on that, they go through to a personalized splash page, which has their name at the top, your branding, your video personalized to them. And this has just been absolutely groundbreaking for us. When we send videos out like this, we get that wow response 9 times out of 10. We had the marketing manager for Uber in Australia see this video and literally call me straight back and say, "Did you actually make that for me? Is there a trick? Because I watched your mouth a bunch of times and your mouth moved, it moved." There is no trick. This isn't mass market, high insert name, send out. But what it is a very, very powerful sales tool for personalization of your message. One of the key things we've found from the large enterprise organizations we're talking to as well is they love the fact that it keeps, and CMOs will really appreciate this, it keeps the sales team on track. One of the biggest problems is that the marketing team works so hard in creating great content for the sales team, and then the sales team just go off-piste and just start creating their own things and talking about something else that's totally not relevant, sometimes selling something that doesn't really exist. What salespeople are like. And the script within here, the template middle section, really keeps them on point, and that every single time they've sent that video out, that you've got your message across through that salesperson.
This is absolutely brilliant. I think in terms of like the heavy lifting work, right? Especially CMOs, they're super busy people, and having to actually have people show up, in the same room, or these days, right? Everyone's working remotely from home. Having everyone to actually, discuss about how to make a video for a client, and then actually, get to press the record button, getting the script done, writing great body copy, especially, and everything like that, right? Involves so much work and tasks. So you're simplifying everything for the CMO. The average CMO was maybe, handling everything by himself or by herself in a small tech startup, especially. I think this is also a godsend for them. But of course, most of the clients are also enterprise customers. Tell us exactly, how do you help enterprise customers to really, elevate the game when it comes to video production and being able to deliver even more effective and convincing messages to their prospects?
Absolutely. Well, across the board, Shootsta is a video tech platform, and basically it contains a suite of apps and also professional services to help them to create their video content and really scale that video content. So a lot more than just a video production company or an agency. We have those suite of apps, everything from screencasting tools with Cast that have Collaborate on the back end of it, enabling them to spend a lot less time on Zoom calls, but really collaborate on those videos. We have Elevate, which, as we've just gone through, has that really powerful sales tool. Also has a sales leaderboard in there, which is great fun for a CMO as well. It's very, very effective for them to sit there and watch that leaderboard and see how many videos are being created and how many views they're getting as well. The analytics is all important. And then the other side of it, Fuse, which is taking a Zoom call and really fusing that together. That's our latest product coming out in a few months' time, and that's going to be a very, very powerful tool as well. So that's the platform side of it. The professional services side of it, we have a network of camera operators all around the world. We've got offices in 7 different countries, and basically we can enable your teams to create content. So help them scale rather than one in-house team looking after it or an agency looking after it. You take, for example, Estee Lauder companies as a simple example. They were creating beauty videos in-house, maybe 10 or 15 here and there. We've now trained 2,500 beauticians to shoot beauty videos on their iPhone. That's scale. Now they can send it through to us. You're using the platform, and as you see there on the screen, the 24-hour turnaround. Our editors then work on those videos and have them back to them in 24 hours.
It's extremely efficient. It's extremely convenient. A turnaround time is really amazing within 24 hours, right? And of course, you're also able to sort out your video assets and having all these extra services like training and creative services and dedicated support as well. So this is absolutely a godsend for CMOs out there. And I'm just thinking, why do they need to actually handle all, the heavy lifting by themselves? They could just engage your company or sign up, your services, because you have a monthly subscription service plan, right? That allows them to seamlessly, get started without having to really, look at so many different options and having to find or even assemble a crew together that probably costs 10 times or even 100 times more than what they would have cost them, right?
Absolutely. And one of the biggest hassles we find, especially through the region, is really regionalizing content. So how do you make one piece of content relevant in Singapore and Thailand and have it in Malaysia and the Philippines? You either go out with lots of different agencies and therefore you get a completely disparate look across all of them. You also end up with a huge cost difference across all of the different regions. And it's a lot of work to manage that entire process. With Shootsta, you can do it through the entire region with one company. One edit team lead sitting here with their editors and their animators. We also offer podcasts and animated explainer videos as well. So any of those pieces of content you want to create, it's all through one person, one point of contact, and looks after the entire region.
Fantastic.
So there you go. There's the beauty videos.
Oh, yeah. Those are amazing and it looks stunning. I think in terms of effective marketing messages, right? Nothing beats having video, that allows you to immerse yourself in that visual work. And of course, the sound and audio as well. The colors, yeah, these are the things that really move people these days. And of course, video consumption has gone up by so much, especially during a pandemic year, right? I think we are consuming more video than ever. So how about for yourself? Are you watching more, videos? And what are maybe some of the work that you've seen out there that has really captured your attention recently?
Oh, it's a great question. I think the kind of video that works has very much shifted during the pandemic. Take a video like this, for example. We're on a webcam talking to each other and it's going out there as a piece of content. Now, this is exactly what Fuse does. Fuse puts together this exact frame, the exact way that we're talking about, and has that video out there and ready in a few minutes in the cloud. So these kind of videos are becoming not just more and more acceptable, but more and more appreciated because it's genuine, authentic content. Whereas pre-COVID, I think we were still in a world of let's overproduce, let's overpolish, let's really make that masterpiece. Now, I think that hero content still definitely has its place. But the reality is I look at video and I look at communication and marketing with a client very much like a relationship. If you take your partner out to dinner once a year or give them a great holiday, good luck in pandemic times, but give them a great holiday once a year and don't speak to them for the rest of the year, you're not going to have a great relationship. Whereas if you do actually continually talk to them each day, have great times with them, on the weekend, and then every now and then again, you're taking them out to that big romantic dinner or that big holiday, you'll have a great relationship. And that's exactly the same with video. You want to have a lot of authentic content, pieces like this going out on a very, very regular basis. So your audience feels like they're in touch with you and they can communicate with you and they know you as a brand. But then you need your hero pieces interspersed within them. And I think a lot of brands used to focus a lot on the big hero content. Now they're realizing, no, we have to get a lot of authentic content out there as well. It has to look good. It has to sound good. Most importantly, most people forget this part, the microphone, be it a lapel microphone or, just understanding the basics of audio. And it needs to be lit fairly well, but it doesn't need to be overproduced. And that's the big thing that I think brands are really coming around to realizing now. And that's why Shootsta can enable them to create that content very, very easily by training them the basics of framing, shot composition, lighting, and audio. And then we look after the post-production where we often have to fix the errors, but that's okay. That's what we do in post.
So you guys are a one-stop shop. Of course, you have your SaaS product, you have Elevate app as well. And you guys are the experts who know firsthand the power of video, right, in creating really personalized connection in sales. And Elevate is, I think, something that really impressed me a lot, which is aiming at all these enterprise sales executives who needs to really make lasting initial impression for a longer conversion process, right? So like what you mentioned, it's all about building authentic brands these days. And it's important to really using video, right, to make real connection one at a time. Yeah. And of course, we all know that this is definitely a long game. A lot of CMOs are all not looking at quick fixes as well, or quick gains or quick wins. They know that video is something that they need to really nail and get really good at doing it. And the best way to do it is to have tools that help them. And having, you hit
the nail on the head on that personalized point, right? There's a lot of quick wins out there. There's a lot of, hey, can I blast 10,000 people? Well, how can I blast 20,000 people? People don't want to be blasted. That's the reality. And I think we're all sitting there with our inbox full of junk, ignoring as much as we possibly can. And every now and again, something catches our eye and we go, oh, that's really great. That's unique. And that's what we find the response we're getting with personalized sales videos, because you actually make the effort. Now we're making the effort a lot less than it used to be, sure, but there's no trickery. We're actually helping you create that content. The content then is personalized to the individual. And we can create that so that you've got particular videos for particular demographics, right down to the fact that a particular demographic likes cycling on the weekend, so their video looks like this. And that's how we go out and create hundreds of those videos. So there's a lot more that we can do in that space for organizations, but I think it's really about enabling large teams to create video content at scale very, very easily and seamlessly. And that way they get that personal touch to their messaging, which isn't going to be ignored the way big broadcast blasts are.
This is brilliant. And before we move on, to our next segment where we ask you about maybe more entrepreneurial questions and maybe even some questions about mental wellness or workplace, some of your tips and advice as well for all the C-suite and CMOs who are watching this live. Maybe tell us about, your presence in Asia. Why Asia? Why are you interested in developing your brand in Asia? Because we know that your background is in Australia, right?
Absolutely. So we're born out of Australia originally. We moved here. Well, I moved here personally with my wife and my daughter 3.5 years ago now. I've got a bit of a background here with Singapore. My wife's half Singaporean, got some family here, and I've also lived here in the past about 20 years ago. I know I don't look that old, but I am. So the draw was always here to Asia. I love the market. I think there's so much opportunity, so many great businesses here as well. And we are working with now 350 of the world's largest brands. And a lot of that is out of the US and out of Australia. And now we've found in Asia, there wasn't really that opportunity there for a lot of these organizations to get the level of content quality that they needed and the consistency they needed. So working with us globally has been very, very useful for these organizations. If we're in Asia, they can work with us here. If we're in the UK, if we're in the US, which we are, they can work with us globally. So a lot of large brands have done that and taken us up in all regions, which has made it really, really handy for us and for them.
Let's back it up even further back, to when you first started. Yeah. So how did you get started in this video business? And how did you eventually, grow Shootsta into the world's fastest growing video tech company?
Ooh, that's a great question with a lot of deep roots. So I used to work at a media company back in the day, and very quick version of the story. I was actually doing sales for a company called Key Media, and I was traveling through Asia doing sales to get people to events. And the very first onset of it, I knew that I had a bit of a video background. I knew video, I knew how to video edit, but I wasn't much of a professional in the space. And then my boss said, we need to sell more seats to this event. How do we sell more seats? And we literally sat in a room and said, this is dire. We have a big problem. We're not getting the numbers we need to get. Come up with crazy ideas. And I said, well, I've got a really crazy idea if you're up for it. And it was actually around the mortgage awards. And so the mortgage awards were mortgage professionals, mortgage brokers in Australia. And I said, what if we did a Bond video, like a James Bond and Bond girl type trailer video starring all of the finalists to make it to the competition and see what happens. And we reached out and started to get, everyone got really excited about being in a video, having their face on camera. And this was 16 years ago. And I went out and filmed this video, put it together, made a Bond trailer. We sold out the event within weeks, because people knew they were going to be on the big screen with that great video they did, jumping out of their friend's Aston Martin, pretending it was theirs, or, borrowing a hovercraft and flying around Sydney Harbour. And so my crazy boss at the time then said, well, that works so well. Why don't you travel Shanghai, Beijing, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Toronto and go and film these videos at every one of our events? So I spent 4.5 years of my life doing that and having quite a dream in my very early 20s. So it was a lot of fun. And I saw the power of video, the power of corporates getting involved in content and seeing their faces on the screens at the end, and the joy that brought them, and how much it encouraged everyone in that business space to do more. So that got me passionately back into the video space. And I went and launched my own company, Trapdoor Productions, doing corporate videos and promotional videos. We've now migrated into branded content, promo videos, TV commercials, more the high-end sort of area. And I saw the need in the market around 6 years ago now. In fact, one of my clients, Susie Sarkis from a company called Herbert Smith Freehills, she hit me up and said, Mike, you really, really need to do something, because my budget is staying flat and the amount of content I need is going through the roof. So there's a problem. And I said, well, I'm seeing that everywhere. And she said, well, if you solve it for me, you'll solve it for many. And she was right. I went away, met up with my best mate, Tim Moylan. He has a tech background. I said, look, I've got this idea, but I need a tech solution that sits in the middle to help upload footage and store footage. And he was like, right, I'm onto it. So he got onto that. I partnered up with him, and the rest is history.
This is a brilliant story, and it's always very interesting, to hear your journey story. And of course, could hear that your passion, for video, especially video production, right, is overflowing because you obviously, you do what you enjoy, right? And you start a company around doing what you love. So the next question probably is more about mental health. I think this is something that I came across when I was doing research for this podcast. You did a very recent interview, I think, with a Hong Kong publication online, where you really drop a lot of value bombs about mental wellness, mental health, especially. So just want to ask you this next question before we let you go. Is the key to workplace mental health doing what you love and enjoy?
I think it's a massive, massive key to mental wellness. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many trappings you can put around it. If you don't love what you do, how are you going to have true mental wellness and true happiness? I know it sounds very fluffy, but at the end of the day, I think there are a lot of workplace activities and a lot of rigor put around how can we, help in mental wellness, which I think they're all great. Don't get me wrong. I think they're all great. Well, most of them are great, at least. But at the end of the day, if you aren't actually loving what you do and you're finding a purpose in what you do. So at Shootsta, for me, I believe that video is really giving people a voice. It's allowing people to be heard. And video used to be only available to the upper echelon of corporate space, the ones that could afford to bring out the crew and everything else, right? So they were getting heard, and more and more and more. And there was this disparity there between them and everyone else. And then everyone else below that, really, they may have an idea, they may have a concept, they may have something they want to get out there. But the best they could do is a really bad webcam, which, thanks to Apple and many others, the quality of the equipment we have has really gone through the roof. Now we need people to let them know how to use it and help out in the post-production and create tools like Elevate so that they have the AI in the background to build those videos, because then they're able to get their voice heard. So when I look at our team at Shootsta and why they're all so passionate about it, we're helping people get their voices heard, right? That's a purpose. And if a company has a purpose, as many companies do, then I feel like the employees feel empowered and they love their work day to day. You need to go home at the end of the day feeling satisfied that you did something that was worthwhile. Otherwise, what's the point?
And we definitely don't want to let you go until we ask you one last question, because a major part of our listeners are entrepreneurs as well as the CMOs and the C-suite, right? So could you maybe recommend a book for aspiring entrepreneurs out there?
Ooh. For aspiring entrepreneurs, look, it's an oldie but still a classic, and a lot of people will debate against it. There are so many. I'm just running through a bunch of Branson titles and everything else. But to be honest, the one that kickstarted me was almost more just really peeved me off was the 4-Hour Workweek. I was getting very frustrated with what I was doing at the time. I was still in that video space, but I wasn't really achieving. To be honest, it was because I was traveling the world so much and having a great time, and I go back home and see all my friends moving forward in life, and I was I'm sure I should be doing more than this with my life, not making any money and going backwards. So for me, the 4-Hour Workweek really gave me that idea of, okay, what if I could get a muse on the side? What if I could get something and just spin it up, and then I could see where that could take me? And that's the part that I loved about it. Not necessarily the 4-Hour Workweek; it's a catchy title, but the concept of spin up something on the side, give it a try. I speak to so many entrepreneurs, or want to be entrepreneurs, I should say, that say, "I've got an idea." I'm like, "It's great, do it." And it's almost like my answer every time is just, "Yeah, do it." Do it. And most of the people that then jump from that cliff and say, okay, I'm going to find the parachute on the way down, absolutely love it. Even if they find it crazy hard, crazy difficult, which it is, they get a lot of satisfaction out of it. And that comes back to loving what you do. Whereas those that say, oh, no, maybe it's not a good idea because I Googled it and somebody else is doing it. I'm like, well, yeah, that's fine. Find another way to do it a little bit differently, but go and do it. So that would be my thought. 4-Hour Workweek, mostly because it talks about how to really get that muse, as they call it in the book, that you spin up on the side, use your, spare time in inverted commas. No one has spare time, but time outside of work to go and spin something up and give it a try. And I just love seeing the energy that comes from that.
I absolutely love that book recommendation. We'll definitely, provide a link in our show notes for this particular podcast episode. So thank you so much, Mike. It's been wonderful, chatting with you for the past 30 minutes. Any last message for our listeners who's listening to this episode on their AirPods or their smart speakers later on?
Oh, no, I won't do a big plug of get in touch with us, but of course do that. I think the message out there on the video front really would be same as the entrepreneurial message, really. Give it a try. There's a lot of people that are still scared. It's almost the final frontier. They're going, I don't know how to get it right, or I can't get this right, I can't get that right. If you do want to, there's free training assets on our website. You can jump on there and get the basics for yourself, so you can go out there and use them. Go out there and put it into practice. Give it a crack. Try and create some content, and then see where it takes you. Obviously, large organizations, you're very much bound by your brand guidelines, which is great. But there is a lot that you can do within that to create quality content.
Fantastic. Very inspirational stuff. And on that note, I think this is a wrap for our podcast live taping. Do check out this URL below, shootsta.com. And thank you so much, for giving me this opportunity to host space for you and to do this live taping, on this Monday evening. And over there, I think it's probably 8-9 p.m. in Australia now, isn't it?
No, I'm in Singapore right now. It's getting dark, but I've got enough lighting to get me by.
I have no lighting, so I have to get out of this camera as soon as possible. But really, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, recording this podcast together with you. So, Mike, I'll see you around, hopefully, at one of the coffee shops in Singapore downtown one of these days.
I'm sure
very
we will.
soon, yeah. Let's catch up soon.
Perfect. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Mike. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.